back at it again, and whoo-wee, it just seems like the left can't catch a break on these L's. You know, it's just L after L after L. It's quite fascinating watching this all happen. It is quite fascinating. But I've got a few videos that I'm going to be checking out with you guys today, so make sure you stick around. There's a few clips, okay? There's a few of them. But before we get into those, make sure you guys hit that like button. And if you're not subscribed to the channel already, hit that subscribe button down below and join the family. All right? Join the family. And if you guys would like to follow me on social media, which I highly encourage you to do, my social media links are in the description box below. Instagram, Twitter, True Social, Discord server, all of that good stuff is down below. And also beware, there is a scammer in my comment section. Unfortunately, they're still around, so please be aware. Do not send any money via WhatsApp or any other. The only way to donate to me is through the YouTube portal. It's called a Super Thanks. All right. That's pretty much the only way to donate to the channel. Okay, so please be aware. Even if it has my profile picture, if they're asking to send money through WhatsApp or Telegram or, you know, dropping a random phone number or something, it is not me. It is a scammer trying to impersonate me to, you know, get money out of you guys, obviously. So please be aware of that and stay vigilant. But anyway, with that being said, let's dive in.
Mr. Park, I've heard the word diversity quite a few times.
By the way, this is Clarence Thomas. Obviously, at the bottom of the screen there, you can read Supreme Court hears oral argument in students for admissions versus University of North Carolina. There is there's a legal battle going on with affirmative action. I believe there's one with North Carolina and Harvard, I believe. And the Supreme Court is, I think they're poised to get rid of affirmative action. But let's take a listen to what Clarence Thomas had to say.
Mr. Park, I've heard the word diversity quite a few times, and I don't have a clue what it means. It seems to mean everything for everyone. And I'd like you first, you did give some examples in your opening remarks, but I'd like you to give us a specific definition of diversity in the context of the University of North Carolina. And I'd also like you to give us a clear idea of exactly what the educational benefits of diversity at the University of North Carolina would be.
Yes, Your Honor. So first, we define diversity the way this court has in its court's precedents, which means a broadly diverse set of criteria that extends to all different backgrounds and perspectives and not solely limited to race. And there's a factual finding in this record, PEDAP 113, that there are many different diversity factors that are considered as a greater factor in our admissions process than race. We have a particular interest in recruiting and enrolling rural North Carolinians. In the last incoming class, 4 out of every 10 students who entered the campus doors were from rural North Carolina. 1 out of every 12 students has a military affiliation, including the most veterans on campus since World War II. And so we value diversity of all different kinds and all the ways that people differ in our society. On the educational benefits question, Your Honor, I don't think it is actually disputed here that there are real and meaningful educational benefits that come with diversity of all kinds. SFFA's own expert, this is on JA 546, conceded and agreed enthusiastically, in fact, on the stand, that a racially diverse and a diversity of all kinds leads to, quote, a deeper and richer learning environment, leads to more creative thinking and exchange of ideas, and critically reduced bias between people of different backgrounds and not solely different racial backgrounds.
But you still haven't given me the educational benefits. I didn't go to racially diverse schools, but there were educational benefits. And I'd like you to tell me expressly, when a parent sends a kid to college, that they don't necessarily send them there to have fun or feel good or anything like that. They send them there to learn physics or chemistry or whatever they're studying. So tell me what the educational benefits are.
So there's three main buckets, Your Honor, and the first, and I think most pertinent to the question that you asked, is the actual truth-seeking function of learning in a diverse environment. I would direct the court to the Major American Businesses brief, which discusses a whole extensive, rigorous, peer-reviewed literature that diverse groups of people actually perform at a higher level. So the most concrete possible scenario is stock trading. And there are studies that find that racially diverse groups of people making trading decisions perform at a higher level, make more efficient trading decisions. And the mechanism there is that it reduces groupthink, and people have longer and more sustained disagreement, and that leads to a more efficient outcome.
Well, I guess I don't put much stock in that because I've heard similar arguments in favor of segregation too.
So yeah, we'll end that clip there. There's more to it. So if you want to listen to it, definitely go and check it out. But so it should just be about the best man wins. Simple and plain. If my test scores are higher than yours, it doesn't matter what my skin color is. Right? It doesn't matter what my background is. It shouldn't matter, about whether I come from rural North Carolina, because that was one of the things that, he kind of bragged about in that right there. Oh, well, we have, 1 in every 4 or something of our new admissions is from rural North Carolina. So what's that supposed to mean? What is that supposed to mean? And I would love to see these studies that prove having a diverse group of folks improves the learning environment. Does it really? I feel like it distracts people because we're not focused on actual, especially now. I mean, obviously we've seen these college campuses now. Maybe when it first began, because of all of this, woke crap wasn't, so prevalent. But now, I mean, goodness gracious, these college kids aren't learning a darn thing. Same thing with K through 12. They aren't learning a single thing. Am I wrong? Y'all talk to me. I've got another clip here of Eli Mastall, who, if you don't know who Eli Mastall is this guy a race hustler, man? My goodness. Just check this out. Check this out.
Exactly the same case. It's fronted by a group of Asian American students. And the argument is that Asian Americans are discriminated against by elite universities because of affirmative action. The real issue, though, Mark, is that these Asian American students behind the scenes are being put up to this by a group of white people, mainly led by a white lawyer named Ed Blum. But what I always say is that their problem ain't with me, and that's because the enemy has been chosen for them by the forces of whiteness and white supremacy. They will let Clarence Thomas, who has been against affirmative action from the very beginnings of his career, they will let him write the opinion outlawing affirmative action. Clarence Thomas, for his 30 years on the court, he has written very few majority opinions that have changed the law in any way. He's too extreme, basically, to get majority opinions of import. But this will be one. They will let him, in an extreme way, outlaw affirmative action.
An extreme way.
Massa, we sick.
I mean, it's going to be a very ruckus opinion. It's going to be a very ruckus opinion.
Yeah, the race hustlers, extreme. And did you guys catch how they ruckus? Uncle Ruckus. If you guys don't know who Uncle Ruckus is, goodness gracious, you got to look it up. you have to look up Uncle Ruckus, which is basically like the Uncle Tom kind of thing, even though Uncle Tom isn't really the right saying. It's really Sambo, but that's what people like to say because, Anyway, and then the whole massa. Really, you know what? Never mind. I'm not even about to go on that whole little rant. I'm just gonna turn the other cheek. But you see the race hustling, right? You see the absolute race hustling, and they've basically given up. But I've got another clip from The View that I also want you guys to see. Let's dive into it.
And we were talking about Supreme Court hearing cases that challenge affirmative actions in schools, and
I just wanted to make the point
say.
that this is really about a conservative activist. He's not a lawyer. His name is Edward Blum, and Whoopi and I are both talking about him. He claims to be a champion of Asian Americans. That is not true. He claims that affirmative action harms Asian Americans. That is not true. He first started with white women. That didn't work. Now he's trying with Asian Americans. I think that is going to work. He is also in front of the Supreme Court being funded by a law firm and some dark money. Many of Clarence Thomas's law clerks work at this law firm.
Oh. She said funded by some dark money. You know, kind of like the guy by the name of, what was his name? You know, the guy that funds everyone on the left. George. What a coinky dink. Well, I'll be damned. When the shoe's on the other foot, it ain't so fun, huh? If that is true. Huh. What do you know? But she don't want to talk about that, though. Oh, no.
The next attack is on LGBTQ plus rights. And the next
of course.
attack is on voting rights. And they're all before the Supreme Court. And so I think what we need to do is recognize this for what it is. This is a right-wing attack on our rights. And it's a concerted effort.
Sunny, there are a lot of Asian Americans that are a part of this, and there's something called a person.
I think they're the few.
Well, yeah, and it can be started by a guy like that, but it doesn't disrupt the facts that there's a personality rating that Asian Americans are having trouble with in regards to a cultural difference. I wouldn't even say it's discriminatory, it's downright racist. They're judging them on a personality score, and if you win on just test scores, which, by the way, people think high school grades first, then standardized test scores, 43% of these elite institutions would be Asian.
43%. And I get it. Oh my goodness. All these Asians. So what? They worked for it. If you work for it, you could take their place. May the best man win. See, and maybe I'm an idiot. Y'all can let me know in the comment section. But I see this the same way that I see sports. I don't want you to hand me any extra points, you know, a handicap, so to speak, so you can help me win. You know, if we're playing a game of one-on-one in basketball and we're playing to 12, I don't want you to spot me 4 or 5 extra points. Oh yeah, you can start with 5 points. No. I don't care if you're better than me. I will outwork you. And if I don't now, give me a year, I'll come back. Right? And instead of having that type of mentality, we're just like, oh no, it's fine. We'll just skip over them. We'll let a few of them in, but we'll go to you guys so you guys can get into. I know you can't compete with them. Oh man, it's so frustrating to listen to some of this stuff. I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous. What comes with diversity is excluding people who worked hard for it. So that's when you lose the argument. That's completely when you've lost it. So you can't win on that basis. But of course, I'm the horrible, terrible person according to the left, because I don't want to discriminate against people who worked hard to be in the position that they're in. People who worked hard all 4 years in high school to make sure that they had the grades. People that studied long nights and long hours to make sure that, you know, they got a high SAT score, right? Oh, well, that's discrimination because this person over here didn't have the same opportunity. So everybody's not born with under the same circumstances. You don't have to go to Harvard to be successful. You don't have to go to, you know what I mean, to North Carolina to be successful. There are plenty of universities across this nation that you could get into, right? But when it comes to the top universities, it should be the best person wins. If you don't have the test scores, you go to some other university that still has openings, right? It's that simple. If you want to succeed, you can succeed. Just because you were born under this circumstance or that circumstance and blah, 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 blah. Because people try to use that as an excuse. Oh, well, see, this Asian person, their parents were successful, so they didn't have to get a job in high school, and all they had to do was just, so the Asian person should be punished because his parents were successful? What sense does that make? They're punished because their parents worked hard and were successful. Goodness gracious. I just don't understand that. I don't understand it. Does it suck? Absolutely. We can all admit that, you know? It sucks. It sucks. But that's life. Get used to it. Like the saying goes, nobody cares. Work harder.
So it does. The problem with the civil rights movement was to say don't discriminate against race because discriminating hurts a race. Fixing it with the same discrimination is going to hurt some other race.
That's not what happened. Let me explain. You know,
yes,
unless you're saying white people are discriminated against.
No, I'm saying Asian Americans in this instance.
Well, here's if you are someone who says these tests don't really reflect us, this is what we did when we talked about the tests that were given in American schools. Said this didn't really reflect how I grew up. You're asking
what? I'm sorry, y'all. I know I keep pausing, but what does how you grew up have to do with passing a test? A test is a test. Everybody takes the same test. Your background shouldn't matter. Reading, writing, science, and math. Can you answer the questions or not? You know, I'm just gonna shut up. You know,
questions I don't have any understanding of.
Right.
The key then is to adjust what you're doing. It's adjusting the standardized test. It is not stopping affirmative action, because once that happens, someone can then say, well, you know, we have 3 Asian American students. We've got enough. See, they can't do that. They can't say, oh, we have 3 women. We can't do that.
I think
the big picture of affirmative action, it is there to help people who would not normally be able to get in, not just on their merit, because folks who were applying to these schools had the grades, had everything, and they still weren't accepted. I'm talking about women.
The Supreme Court has indicated they would consider socioeconomic differences because clearly education is not equal in this country.
The problem with that is that's a failed experiment. In California in 1998, California passed, I believe it was called Proposition 209, that banished affirmative action. The very next year, the number of California Black and Latino first-year students plunged by nearly half at UCLA and UC Berkeley, and it has continued to fail precipitously since 1998.
This is where the diversity question comes in.
Taking the race out is a failed experiment.
Why does Clarence Thomas say
it's not a failed experiment? Get your test scores up. Now, if what she said, because I think it was Whoopi that said it, she said women have the same test scores. If that is the case and they're not getting in, then, you know, I question that. You know, it should be about test scores in your high school grades, right? Your GPA. If a woman comes in and says, hey, here's my GPA, here's my test score, and the test score matches, you know, that of an Asian male, whatever, because that's kind of who we're talking about here, and, you know, the woman never gets to get in, but all of the Asian guys get to get in, well, then, you know, that's a cause to pause for me. You know, I can't be a hypocrite. I said, if you got the test scores, you can get in, right? I don't care if you're white, black, blue, purple, tall, short, fat, skinny, gay, straight, lesbian, whatever. If you got the test scores, you should be able to get in. So if they're not letting people in based on, you know, test scores and your GPA, then, you know, I'm like, hold on, wait a minute, pause, time out. Foul on the play, you know, penalty. What's going on here?
He doesn't understand diversity. He's married to a white woman. No, isn't that diversity?
This is the wait, but the point that you're touching on, Sunny, is important. Justice Brown said in her explanation, aren't other things taken into consideration? Like if you're a parent, if you're a vet, if you're the first one to go to college. She was even bringing up that diversity is different. When you speak, I think what he's saying is this diversity only racial diversity?
But it's that what they're talking about? That's all this man is talking about. That's all
he wants to take that piece out, and that's an important piece.
Yes. And just real quick, what I think we can't lose from this discussion is American higher education's falling behind in some of the most critical fields. We're falling behind China. STEM fields, we do not have enough people going into them. That has national security implications. It has the future economy of the U.S., global competitiveness. So I think we need to think about how do we put forward the most qualified students from broadly diverse backgrounds and give everybody equal footing.
Well, you have to start with kindergarten, first of all.
Well, you also have to start with universal pre-K.
Make people accept people they visually don't want to sit next to. That is why it had to be a law, because if you had left it alone, people would not have accepted people. Women would not have gotten into college. There's so much that would not have happened. It's unfortunate that we have to have a law that says, listen, you have to take this into consideration, but that's the country we live in. Sometimes we have to push people and say, listen, all children should be educated equally. But they weren't. So we had Brown versus Board of Education. We had to do stuff this way because people weren't doing the right thing.
Goodness gracious. Long story short, right? GPA, test scores, you get in. Now, if there is a situation where, hey, there's one spot left, you got a woman, you got an Asian guy, you've got a black guy, and I don't know, you've got a Hispanic, right? In that case, give them all an extremely hard test. Give them all a hard test. May the best man win in that under that circumstance. Hey, thank you for applying to this university. Unfortunately, there is one spot left, or there are only a few spots left, and many of you have the same test scores and GPAs. So in order to determine who shall get in, you know, the link below is a test to take or something to determine who gets in. Something along those lines. And you let them duke it out that way. The best person wins. Now, obviously, it might not be the case that way. You know, you might have to have them in person kind of situation or something. I guess you could do it on the computer, just make it timed so they couldn't just sit there and look up all the answers the whole time. But yeah, I mean, it should be that simple. This whole diversity thing, the best person wins. You heard like bits and pieces of the truth throughout there, but then Whoopi, of course, would just jump in with her BS, or Joy Behar or Sunny Hostin. The two, I don't know the other two ladies' names. This lady here, and then the other lady that we saw towards the end, this lady. They both said some bits and pieces of the truth, right? The first lady said it's downright racist what they're doing to these Asian folks. It's downright racist, right? And then the second lady mentioned, hey, we're falling behind. And it's the truth, because we value diversity over actual intellect, over actual IQ, right? And we're falling behind. You think China cares about diversity? No. and they're probably laughing at this stuff. Laughing at it. Like, look at these guys. Silly rabbits, you know? But anyway, if I'm wrong, let me know in the comment section below. Please do. I understand on any of these topics that, you know, I discuss here with you guys. I could be wrong on anything, right? I'm not one of these folks who thinks they're always right on everything and can never be wrong. Absolutely not. So if you feel I'm wrong, let me know and tell me why. All right? Like, share, comment. Hit that subscribe button if you're new. Peace and love. I'm out.